Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask Anna Beavon Gravely and Brad Crone. A recent report from the North Carolina Rural Center determined that between 2005 and 2015, the number of businesses that employed 10 people or fewer actually dropped by 4,300 or 7% in the state's 80 rural counties. In the 6 urban counties, there was a 9% increase. Now, this report indicates one reason for the decline was the lack of access to capital by small businesses. Do you agree? And if so, what other reasons might?
Yeah, I agree, and I would argue even further that it's a capital problem that the small farmers and small farm operations are faces. We have a crisis in rural North Carolina in the agribusiness and agricultural community. You've done special shows on it. You've brought in the Commissioner of Agriculture, Farm Bureau, the Rural Center to come in and talk about it. It is real. It is living, and a lot of it, Tom, has to deal with the fact they can't get access to capital because the traditional banks won't loan any money anymore on the major commodity crops, whether it's tobacco, sweet potatoes, cotton, corn, soybeans. They can't get the money to run their farm operations.
Anna Beavon, you grew up in Rocky Mount, and it was a town that has been really affected by the economy in recent years. What's your take on all of this? Is the problem capital? Or are there other problems involved with why small businesses are actually disappearing?
I think capital is a broad sweeping problem. The two things that stood out to me when reading this is the gig economy and the side hustle world, and that environment and culture that's created.
No, all right, you're going to have to explain that. The gig economy.
The gig economy, also known as like having a side hustle, which would be like the ride sharing, home sharing, task services. These are things that are supported in larger cities and urban areas because there are more people and there are more people in need to be able to make this money on the side. And those people are entrepreneurs. So that would be another reason why it's the numbers are growing in urban areas over rural areas. Right. And in rural areas, you've got a lot of people looking to solve problems, and they're looking to solve problems with themselves, specifically women. Women are starting their own businesses at a rate that is 5 times greater than men from a time period of 1997 to 2015. And nearly 36% of small businesses are run by women. And so I think that's a bigger issue.
But the statistics show that there are more of them going out of business.
Correct. Women are having a harder time getting capital. On a larger scale, VC funding for 2018, women only represented 2.2% of all the money that went through venture capital funding.
So there's got to be greater support infrastructurally for small business in rural regions of our state. For example, access to broadband internet. So they got high-speed access to data and are able to interact in a digital commerce with credit card and debit card transactions.
Senator Harry Brown's working on really hard.
Absolutely.
But we've talked about this quite a bit on NC Spin through the years. If we're going to toss out economic incentives, why shouldn't we be tossing them out to small businesses? More jobs actually get created by our small businesses than by these big elephants who come in here, because we don't get that many of them.
Can we identify the light manufacturing sectors in the rural regions and make sure that our industries that are already here, that we're taking care of and making sure that they are successful so they can continue employment opportunities?
Any appetite for that you're seeing?
Well, I think instead of looking at what kind of incentives can we provide, because a lot of people, when they start businesses, they're solving problems. They're fixing things that they have problems with. Right. So that's their incentive. If we can just reduce the regulations, we can make it easier for people to start businesses and have access to capital, then I think that's going to solve our problem.
I think you're onto something. I think the regulatory hurdle is big, particularly for small businesses.
Super confusing.
Can't afford extensive accounting and legal and so forth like that. Well, thank you for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.